The first question is, what is your view on Donald Trump's protectionist policies, particularly the import tariff on China and their impact on global trade flows?
Okay, so this one is a tough one.
Yes.
Maybe we start with a few backgrounds. So US had a trade deficit of about $1 trillion in 2023, and 26% of it is with China. So obviously, Donald Trump is trying to rebalance trade, and he's attacking by putting trade barriers, tariff barriers, China, but not only, he's also focusing on Canada, Mexico, and European Union. As of today, the long-standing impact of trade flows of these tariffs is rather difficult to assess, basically because the policies are evolving on a daily basis almost. So basically, shipping companies like the one I'm running, we don't have much visibility on what's going on, and we need to review our commercial strategy almost on a daily basis. But trade flows definitely as of today are impacted, with a large number of trips which were cancelled in March and in April.
Okay.
And particularly between China and America. But the volumes between those two destinations is on the rise now since 8th of May, the de-escalating of the tensions between China and America. And a lot of shippers are trying to restock, and a lot of flows has resumed to flow, basically. But it remains quite fragile. Now we talked about the volumes. Let's talk a bit about the freight rates. Basically, there has been a very high volatility of the freight rates over the past months, following the announcements of Donald Trump. He says one thing, it goes up. He says another thing, it goes down. Okay. The rates for container vessels, because mostly we're talking of container vessels here, crashed in February and in March, but they rebounded, they bounced back quite strongly in April, May, and June, more than 50%, because US importers did restocking. Because in theory, starting 9th of July, the trade tariff will start again.
Yes.
So let's see. Just maybe one thing that we did not mention: one of the key drivers regarding trade will be the port dues, which America is going to apply to Chinese-built or Chinese-owned vessels. If it is really implemented, and it's supposed to start in October this year, it's going to seriously disturb international trade flows, because we talk of enormous amount of money.
All right, that's quite cool, yeah. So, in your opinion, to what extent has the trade war between the US and China affected the volume of cargo handled by Sinarmas LDA Maritime?
Maybe some elements regarding Indonesia and America, just to give some background items. So the US have imposed a 32% tariff on goods imported from Indonesia. Those tariffs were suspended on 9th of April, but they're supposed to start again on 9th of July. But
9th of July. We're still waiting for this. Yeah, nobody knows. We're still waiting.
And just as a reminder, the US is the second export market of Indonesia. They imported about $26.5 billion of goods in 2023, and we're talking mostly of electronic, clothes, shoes, and palm oil, which is part of my business. Indonesia imported for only whatever we import what we can, but for $9.5 billion of goods from America, and it is the 6th largest partner of the US. And what do we import from America? We import mostly LPG and soybeans. So now, if I look really at my business, so SLM, we are mostly a domestic player, pure Indonesian ship owner, with two main activities. First, we transport commodities between the different islands of Indonesia. And my second main line of business, I operate ports in Indonesia, private ports mostly. So as a domestic ship owner of coal, palm oil, and nickel ore, I mean, there is no direct impact of the trade war on my business. Let's be clear, no direct. Indirect, maybe there is, but direct, no.
No, okay.
As an operator of ports handling commodities for the export market, yes, we have been impacted. We have seen a decline of the quantities exported to America in March, when the tariff went into full force, and then it bounced back since the relaxation. So big fluctuation. just the business I know most will be palm oil in terms of export to America. 2024, the US imported 2.2 million tons of palm oil from Indonesia. So it's about 5% of the total production of Indonesia. So obviously 5% is not small.
Yes.
So let's see what happens on the 9th of July. As of today, it's wait and see.
So what you say is like almost all the commodities, the business is going slower.
A bit slower, yeah.
In this year.
Alors, if we look at Indonesia, in terms of commodities, I take out oil and gas, because for oil and gas it's a very specific sector.
Very specific, yeah.
Other commodities, Indonesia is very strong, at the export at least, with 3 commodities. Coal, nickel, and palm oil. In terms of value, coal and palm oil are about the same. Nickel is a bit lower. We are talking for coal and palm, $50 billion industry, minimum ballpark. Nickel, numbers is about 25 billion, something like this. However, in terms of volumes, coal in 2024, 830 million tons of coal mined in Indonesia. Okay? Nickel, 215 million tons. So dry bulk, coal plus nickel only. It's more than 1 billion tons of commodities sourced in Indonesia. Palm oil, on the other hand, it's 50 million tons, 5% in terms of volume. So indeed, as I mentioned earlier, palm oil this year is doing okay. Domestic absorption is okay. B40 program, export still running, not always to America, but other markets are there. However, it cannot compensate coal and nickel. 1 billion ton, 1.1 billion ton versus 50 million ton. So far, the business for commodity shipping is a bit slow. On the longer run, I will remain bullish for Indonesian shipping sector because I believe that Indonesian commodities will remain in high demand, and there is this push from the government to process domestically what is produced locally. So for shipping, domestic logistics, it's good.
Okay.
You transport a lot more locally.
Yeah.
There is also a strong push to develop again oil and gas. It will trigger more shipping activities. And if we look at the transportation of goods in the country, Indonesia is still growing in terms of economy at 5% per year, roughly. And a significant share of this growth comes from the domestic consumption. So regular shipping of goods is needed to accompany the growth of an archipelago. So long term, bullish. This year, a bit slow. But once more, my business, so far okay.